Hi guys, let's do my August wrap up. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick review of all the books I read in August. So let's get started. The first book I read in August was Cobweb Bride by Vera Nazarian. This is the first book in the Cobweb Bride trilogy. The premise is that Death, the entity, has stopped death. It will remain so until Death finds his Cobweb Bride. At first it seemed like this would be my kind of story. It was a fairy tale-esque setting with awesome female characters, but sadly that wasn't true. The pace was incredibly slow in the first half of the novel and there was no sense of urgency. And although the writing was beautiful, it quickly became flowery prose that didn't really fit. However, I quite liked some of the characters and the world was interesting, so I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Wives of Henry Oates by Joanna Moran. It's based off a controversial newspaper account in the 1800s about a man who goes to New Zealand with his wife and children. The wife and children end up getting kidnapped by a local Maori tribe, and although he looks for them, he gives up and ends up going to the US and later marries a new wife. But of course the first wife and her children are not dead, and eventually they find their way back to him. So now he has a conundrum. He has 2 wives. I love the premise, the characters were interesting, and the build up to the meeting of the 2 wives was fast and intriguing. However, after the conundrum was presented, I felt that the pace of the novel slackened and it felt bland by comparison to the first half of the novel. There are some interesting crises that happen in the second half of the novel, and I really like the interactions between the 2 wives. So overall I give it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Tuscan Rose by Belinda Alexandra. This is set during the fascist regime in the 20th century in Italy. It's about a woman called Rosa who has a mysterious history and the power to see where things came from. I absolutely love this novel. The writing was lovely, the mystery was ever present and intriguing, and I absolutely loved the main character Rosa for all her strengths and courage to withstand all the horrible things that happened to her. And there were some really awesome twists as well. However, I would have given it 5 stars had it not felt like it was 2 novels. I've easily split it into 2 novels where one focused on the fascist regime and the other novel could have been a fantasy mystery story that focused on her powers and her history. Because of this, the pacing felt a little bit off. Plus, I really enjoyed this novel and I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Bee and Puppy Cat by Natasha Allegri. This is the first 2 issues of the series. Basically, it's about a forever unemployed girl who can't seem to figure out life and her mysterious magical companion, Puppy Cat. There really isn't much to say about this graphic novel. It had a fluffy story, the art was absolutely beautiful, and I quite liked the characters of Bee and her puppy cat. I would have enjoyed the story a lot more had I read it as a volume, as opposed to issues. I give it 2 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. This is the 3rd book in the Harry Potter series. Basically, it's Harry Potter's 3rd year of Hogwarts, and now he has to fear the fact that the mass murderer Sirius Black is after him. This was a reread. I think I've only read through the series once, and this was my least favourite novel when I read it that time. However, after rereading it, I can seriously say that I love this novel. It was so much better than what I had previously remembered. And the novel introduces 2 of my favourite characters, Remus Lupin and Sirius Black. I really enjoyed learning more about the wizarding world, so I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Journey to the Centre of the Earth by Jules Verne. Basically, it's about a professor called Lindenbrock and his nephew Axel, and they end up going to the centre of the earth. I read this for my book club and I can seriously say that I did not enjoy this novel at all. The pace felt incredibly slow. I couldn't find myself to like any of the characters, the plot felt thin, and the scientific information felt very heavy-handed. So I ended up giving it 1 out of 5 stars. And the last novel I read for August was Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier. Basically, it's about a woman called Lady Donna Stockholm who escapes London with her children to the countryside and ends up falling in love with a pirate lord. I really enjoyed this novel, which is awesome because it's my first Daphne du Maurier novel. It had pirates, scandal, intrigue, a really sweet love story, and beautiful, beautiful writing. I would definitely recommend this novel. So I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I hope you enjoyed my wrap up. Thank you for watching and see ya.